am I creating for?
Right.
That's an underlying question. Who am I truly creating for? And sometimes it might be the external. But if it's coming through your soul, then it will always have to be you as well. You cannot, from my perspective, you cannot separate yourself from the creative process. So yes, you might be creating for the external, but you will always be creating for yourself through the process. And so how do you separate that if you are also creating for the external, if it's something that you don't align with or agree with? Or can you? And so you have to ask yourself that question. And I know we've talked about the fact that you had to get to that point. And as we listen to your album today, which is still amazing, there's one song on there called Wanted, that you can just feel your soul coming through and the truth in that for you in that moment. And to this very day, it brings tears to my eyes in this very moment, it brings tears to my eyes to feel what you were feeling. That was the most vulnerable, transparent song on that entire album, because it was truth for you and you created from that space of truth. And to me, that is creation. It's like, here is my moment in time, my slice of truth, my soul bared to you. Now, it may be different 5 years from now, but that was my truth in that time. And I'm willing to show you. And it also gives you a point of reference. You look back, and we look back at that album, and you're like, I remember that whole experience, and I remember the journey that I was on through that whole experience.
Right. It's a great point. I mean, without that, I don't know if a couple of Facebook pictures doesn't really share the truth of what I was experiencing during that time of my life. And so I am fortunate that I actually do have a way to access those feelings and those emotions through recording music. And even now be able to go back and say, everything I was feeling during that time helped shape me to where I am today. And what was I feeling at that point that I may still actually have as part of me right now that I need to release and let go? So it's a great reminder. And what parts of it are core to who I am? That, even that Wanted song, at that time, the main chorus is, I want to feel like I'm wanted. And so much of my life, I just wanted to feel wanted and accepted and loved. And looking back, I have such amazing parents who do love and care for me. And I've been so fortunate to have so many people, friends and family around me who do care for me and love me. And so the fact that I still felt like I wanted to be wanted was, it's definitely interesting to reflect on that. And I feel grateful I'm at a point where that's not where I'm at, and it's so easy, especially at a young age, and growing up right when social media was starting and all of that kind of stuff, where so much of the validation of self was determined by the external and how sucked into that I was getting at that point. And so it was definitely the most vulnerable I had ever been. And it's beautiful now to say that I've come through that. But I can still appreciate the song. I can still appreciate the feeling and the emotionality behind it. So yeah.
Yeah. And to give that part of yourself so that others who were feeling the same way
Right.
had a voice that maybe they couldn't express, but could feel connected to.
It's a good point. It's probably the only song, now that you say that, it's probably the only song on the entire album where I didn't think, what is everyone else going to think of this? And so, yeah, it's a really interesting point.
Yeah. And I would say, having consumed the entire album. The others are fun and they're poppy, and they would be something you would play at a party, a college party or something like that. But that's the one that you could play on repeat and you could feel, and you would likely sit in your room and just be like, yes, I felt that. Yes, I'm feeling that now, and it could help you navigate through that feeling that you may have, because as we always say, you can't get over it, you have to get through it. And sometimes you need something to help you navigate through the feeling until you just don't have that feeling anymore. You've navigated through it.
Yeah.
And that creative spark you had, that willingness to be vulnerable and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling until I don't feel it anymore, could help someone else get through it until they don't feel it anymore.